Russell, you just green with envy, ain't you? It's a good intro, ain't it?
You took that long? It took me
a long time to go with green with envy. Yeah. So, Bloomlord, let me tell you, is like one of my love-hate decks. Really, green, the color is my love-hate color.
First color you played?
First color I played, first color to let me down.
Yeah.
It's just, I've been through a lot with Bloom. I even took this to a regional without ever playing it, and because I thought it'd be simple to play, and then I learned my lesson after I got 3-0'd, and, you know, cheated on camera a couple times. It was a good time. But since then, I've got really...
Confident?
Confident. I feel really good about Bloom and its place in the meta. Green is like that color I feel like I was lagging behind forever, and it just keeps getting a couple pieces here and there that has made it good. And I think right now in the current format, even after a limit with Blossom on, I think the deck's really good. And I think we saw in the video, even
we did.
With a single Blosso, the deck is still super strong and super fast.
Yeah.
So
kind of forgot you're only playing with one of those.
I'm playing with one of those, yeah. So that game that was my one of.
That kind of blows my mind that you got it both games to think about it now.
Yeah.
That was crazy. Anyways.
Yeah, I think, well, you'll see when we get to the deck that there's ways that help you get there, right?
Yeah.
Starting for the eggs, Argomon is probably just one of the best green eggs for a deck that's just worried about...
If you're in green, yeah.
Doing something. Everything else kind of, like, the boss monsters already get DP boosted, so we're not looking for, like, Minomon or anything like that. So just being able to, you know, swing, use an effect, and then next turn get a memory start of the turn extension. As I said a million times, extension. I am running 5 eggs.
What you hate.
It's one of those, this is one of those decks that I feel like sometimes you really need it because you go balls to the wall and then realize you left your balls on the wall because they play the Crimson Blazer or Death X. So...
Also, you just wanted to show this art.
I do love showing this Gummymon off because I love this Gummymon. Gummymon's awesome. Once per turn, if your opponent's Digimon becomes suspended, draw a card.
Spoiler alert.
It happens. Yeah. The other thing is, green is one of those things like red where you're really looking to draw some cards. You know, green is, I think, a well-known brick color. Yeah. So anything that can
doesn't have a lot of search.
It doesn't have much search, which does take me to our first level 3, which is our searcher for the deck. It is the good old BT-10 Palmon.
Wow. How dare you. Where's the event pack 4 ones?
I have not pulled any, and I ain't paying the ridiculous amount they want for those stupid things. One of the best cards out of the event pack, so you know it's actually worth money.
You're right. Thanks those memes.
Yeah, no. No inheritable in this card, but man, the on play, which you play for 3, lets you look at the top 4, lets you get a vegetation and a fairy. The entire deck is vegetation except for like 1 or 2 cards, but sometimes you get to do this, pick up a 4 or a 5, and also grab a Bloomlord.
Yeah, which now you need.
Yeah, now you want, right? It's the key. So, great searcher. And then on top of, like I was talking, you know, you mentioned earlier about searching, is all the effects, which we'll get to later on, like to play low DP Digimon. So, going into a level 4, going into a 5, and then getting just dump one of these for free, and then search, really good. Yeah. Extend you, because you need Digimon to keep this deck rolling.
Right.
Next is a 4 of the Pomon.
I hate this card.
From EX3. It is your turn when it affects suspends this Digimon, suspended when your opponent's Digimon. Really good.
Yeah.
Does a lot of suspending, and sometimes it helps lock down and remove some cards from your opponent's board.
I hate it. The only times that singular card has ruined a game for me is...
I feel like this card single-handedly took Bloomlord when it was in BT-10 from just being a whatever deck to a super strong and powerful deck, because then you're able now to suspend your stuff and then benefit more from it than just like, oh, I get to get a big Bloomlord in a swing. So, controlling the board sometimes is what you want to play when you don't want to OTK or go to town with this deck.
Gives you some control.
The other 3s are kind of weird. And I will preface this as we go. My version of Bloomlord is very toolboxy, and that's kind of the way I've like approached it. Like, hey, I have my 6s, I have my top end that I want to get to, and I have the facilitators for that, but where those pieces in between what I want to fill with, and that's where I've kind of come to a lot of the decisions in my deck. The first one's Mushroommon. This card's pretty just, he's there, he's a 2-drop for 3k. The main purpose he is for this deck is sometimes you need to get a body on board to get a suspend effect, and you got 2 memory, and you can extend off of that. He is out there for that extension. I think he could go to 4 if that's what you wanted to play, if you wanted more of the 2s. But to me, I like him at 3 because it allows me to play a couple other things. Because I am playing 13 rookies, which is, you know, green specialty. My next one of old Palmon from the starter deck, my first starter deck, the one that made me hurt myself. It's from the Herc deck.
Hercules Cafeteria.
Yeah, so if you attack an opponent's Digimon, get plus 2k.
That's a good card.
It was a lot higher before, back when Black or Gray was higher probably meta.
Right.
Bloomlord already getting a plus on his DP kind of helps it get where he wants there, but sometimes you need like 2k. Big old machine Dramons.
Barely missing it.
Yeah. So it's just a great toolbox card when you need like some DP. Like it's an inheritable. Sometimes you want to play that in the back, hard play that your search Palmon. So great, now I have a DP Palmon on the back, and I got to search, so I feel pretty good about my starting turn.
Yeah.
The last, level 3, is the Floodgate Pomumon. All turns players can't pay Digimon by effects. Hey, guess what?
What's one.
Good to hurt another Bloomlord player?
Bloomlord.
This is the one card I think you go to 2 if you wanted to cut that DP boost Palmon and play this at 2. The thing with this deck is you got to remember, it's even, so it's going to hurt you and your opponents neither if you can play by effects. This deck's all about playing by effects. So if you're going to play this in a Bloomlord match, the key is to make sure you go off and then play it. So.
And then be able to, I think one crucial thing with that too is be able to follow up with a way to hopefully, like, more than likely Digivolve on it, so that way that effect goes away and you can do that. Like, being able to play, like, that card's so good, but it does affect your deck so much that you have to make sure that when you play it, you have a way to stop it.
Right. And I think one of the best cards to go over it is the Sunflowmon. I think I've done it many times, like just personal games. I don't think it happened in the video, but I'll play that. I'll floodgate that. It'll survive to the next turn, and then I will then use it as, Sunflow is really great. We're going, hey, suspend when you're green Digimon. Guess what? That's another thing I love about this is any. It doesn't say other. As somebody who come from Magic, and there's a lot of suspend a other effect. Having this be able to like suspend itself, and then play a plant, vegetation, all the fun stuff this deck plays. Fairy that has 3,000 or less. You will see, I think, everything up to below. All the 4s and all the 3s are all in that 3k range for playability. So, man, just Facilitator keeps going. Also, Inheritable, guess what it does? Draws a card.
Perfect.
When it affects suspends when you're a Digimon.
Perfect.
So,
hey, guess what?
I'm going to suspend something, and then I'm going to draw me a card to make sure I can have something to play off that next effect that suspended something.
It's also a 4 cost.
So, yeah.
I mean,
it doesn't. You don't hard play this much, but if
you need to,
if times get tough,
Crimson Blaze came down. You're like, I got nothing but a Sunflowmon.
You're staring at a wall. Yeah.
You're like, I'm at 3, and I'm gonna give you 1. I'll play a level 4. I love the 4 cost, especially like look how much text that has for a 4 cost.
Yeah, and the other thing I like about it, I just never noticed this. I've never noticed that Palmon's hanging out on the back of this thing. That's pretty cute.
Yeah. And Lilamon, whatever that is, or Lalamon.
Lala, and the other one, whatever her, Yoko.
Yoko? Nah, yeah.
No, that's the red one.
I don't know.
That's that one right there. Here we go. To facilitate our vegetation and plant strategy, we are running some Weed and Vegemons. I'm going to dump both of these on the screen at the same time because they just are the same thing here, basically. Running 2 of the Weedmon. He's 4. He evolves for 1. That's the main reason he's in the deck because really that 4 of slot is either to be played off effects, play for 3, or just to be a short evolver to get us to our 5s to keep going. The Digiburst of Fate Inheritable means nothing in here. We don't Digiburst. I do think if you were playing this deck and you want to play like a Nidhogg or something, maybe you wanted that.
A Nidhogg would be really good.
I think I'll talk about when I my 6s, that's definitely an option for the limit to Hydra for Ultimate Cup. But really these cards facilitate the same process of something you can play off your effect on top of evolving for a 1. And once again, because my deck is toolboxy, I got 2 nice little toolbox cards. We got this Vegemon. This one's a little bit different. Once again, he facilitates that 3 cost, or the 3 DP to play from the effects. But he has the start of your turn, gain 1 memory. And I like him because we're not playing mini tamers this deck. Yeah. Surprise, surprise. You'll see in the future.
Yeah.
But sometimes you can end your turn by playing enough, like Digivolving to a Sunflow or something, like you got put at 1, and you should need something to do. And then putting this down is like a guarantee, like, hey, I have a little bit extra boost the next turn.
With your Argomon, and with that, you're potentially going to go to 3.
Yeah, it's just a good little options that I have sometimes.
I was wondering if the Palmon that has that same effect would be worth it or not in this deck.
I was playing it before back in the day, and it was and of course that Palmon draws a card.
Oh, so, that one draws a card?
But I found myself needing other options. Like, that's really what the Mushroomon come in for. Because the Mushroomon one helps me get to my game plan. The other one may draw me a card to help me rebuild, but I probably, once again, as we talked in this meta, in the single stack or like really wide hunter or crossboards, if I lose my first initial build, I'm probably done anyways.
Right, yeah.
So what does it matter if I can draw a card on the start of my turn? And then the last new addition, and one of our few non-vegetation or plants, is Parasaurmon. So this is a card I've recently added. I've only played it a couple of times, but both times I've played it, I felt really good about it. It is 2 to evolve, 5 to play, 4,000. Really what we care about is its effects. It is your turn if you would play a green Digimon card. You may suspend this Digimon to reduce its play cost by 1.
Oh, yeah.
So once your effects that allow you, like we seen the Sunflow earlier that draws, there's some other in our 5s that have some effects when we suspend. So this could, one, it's making our stuff cheaper to play. And it's also suspending, which is really good. This deck really wants suspending cards to facilitate the game plan. It also has this awesome your turn, once per turn, when an effect suspends when you're a Digimon, suspend when your opponent's Digimon. So it is that Pomumon, the level 3, but it's an inheritable effect.
That's pretty good. Especially if you're going to be what your level 5s look like.
The only negative of this card, like I said before, it's a dinosaur.
True.
So you know, we're not searching it. We're not going to be able to like do any weird funky playing it for free kind of deals. But if you have it in the back and you promote up and you have some weird stuff going on, or you played it one turn because you gained a bunch of memory for something, it's a great extra option to keep you going.
Yeah.
Because I think a lot of people forget that, unlike Magic, there is no summoning sickness, even though there is summoning sickness. We can't attack the first turn, but we can use effects.
Yeah.
So if you can get this out and then still it's your turn, you can keep going. You can still suspend it even though you're not attacking with it to keep going.
Absolutely.
So. Level 5s, another weird, just because this deck is just weird on my numbers.
It took a hit, so I mean,
it took a hit. It's the main big boy for 5 is Agitarmon. Once again, you know what this thing does? It plays some by effects. So he has the main effect. Once per turn, we can suspend another green Digimon, or suspend a green Digimon, not another, but suspend a green Digimon to play. Once again, that threshold that we've talked about, that 3,000 for plant vegetation. I think we saw in the video. I had this in the back. Come up.
Yep. Effect.
Went straight into uses effect, suspending him, going to a Palmon. HPD the Palmon to go to a Bloom.
Yes.
Gained a bunch of memory, went to town.
And kept going.
Extension.
Extension.
It's a great extension. Also, it has that awesome effect when an effect suspends when your Digimon gain 1 memory.
Yeah.
I find myself missing this effect a lot because...
Yeah, I kind of forgot. I don't even think I knew it did that.
I think it's mostly the way, because you've played me a lot against Bloomlord, and the way I play, I tend to like have everything suspended. Like I use him for his own suspension because I just want all the suspended so I can get as much memory as I want to. So a lot of times it's like Bloomlord's suspend effect doesn't mean nothing because everything's already suspended. But sometimes it doesn't happen and you get that extra memory and it's really good. We'll go into what is the saddest part of this deck.
Yeah.
Is our Blossomon, and then while I'm here, I'm probably just gonna go ahead and talk about Argomon.
Because they're practically the same thing.
They are the same thing. The only difference is that that DB and play cost, and of course that when attacking effect on Argomon. But these deserve to be limited.
Yes.
There's no doubt.
Blossomon has ruined.
I think Blossomon has been fine, and probably still is fine. I know a lot of people would say no, and I can understand it. But it was like the one thing that made green like kind of good.
I think it made it too good.
Yeah.
You put that in any other color, it's gonna
but every other color's had better cards, so you know.
Being able to go to a level 5 for 0 off of a level 4.
I mean, yeah, but you still do the same thing with Cool Boys and other effects. So I think it's
you have to have 3 cards to be able to do a Cool Boy for 0.
Listen, this is the part of the deck profile where we argue about how Blossomon shouldn't be bad. But it's limited.
Yeah.
It and Argomon are both limited, and I think, like you said, for good reason, as sad as it makes me. They're both good. Digizorp, so suspend a Digimon to Digivolve into this one for a reduced cost. Guess what? It reduces all the way for 3.
Yep.
Actually, does it say 3?
Usually 3, yeah.
It does reduce, so if you have reduced floodgates, it would hurt this deck.
Yeah.
So look, we had floodgates. I don't know what the problem is. But
imagine if you had 4 of Argomons.
A 4 of Argomon would be great in this deck because Argomon's inheritable is when attacking, not once per turn, but when attacking, you may play a level 3 Digimon suspended. So
which can come up. The when attacking not once per turn is actually can come up. I've seen it happen.
The reason I think it's okay, Blosso is okay to kind of go, is there's more Digizorpsters now.
Yes. I think, to be fair, I don't think Bloomlordmon is the problem. I think Digisorption is just a strong card.
Yes, Digisorping
Keyword.
for 3 was too powerful all along. 0, anything you can go into for 0 is too powerful.
strong.
Whether it's this card game, whether it's Magic, whether
Right.
most any other games, anything that is free, guess what? Turns out it's good. Value is value.
Crazy. That's why I don't have free cards in Yu-Gi-Oh.
No more free codes. Next level 5 is Cherrymon. It has Digisorp 2, so with that his evolve at 3, he goes for 1. Which is why I kind of think like if this card didn't exist or there wasn't like a really good other Digizorper, this deck's dead.
Bloomlord would have taken a lot of shit.
But he also has this awesome once per turn that you can have your opponent's Digimon swing into a suspended Digimon that you control.
Which is good.
So sometimes it's a free block without being blocked. It's also like, you know, a good way to control a board if you can't do somewhere they're playing like a really low to the ground game, like, well, cool, I'm going to make sure you can't get past me, or I'm going to survive a turn. I don't care. Hit this Palmon, let it die. We're good. So, but it's a Digizorper and has a really good defensive ability. Big Mama Jamma of the deck, the Queen Bee, the Royal Plant, the Creeping Vine, the Bloomlord. I love this stupid card so much.
It's a good card. It's pretty art, too.
It's such pretty art, and its effect is so great, because when you Digivolve, you get to suspend a Digimon, right? So, it's one of your Digimon, I think, is one of the main things. You then gain a memory for each suspended Digimon you have. So, sometimes, especially in the game you saw me, IHPD, it's free memory, but sometimes you can like go into it's not hard for you to have 4 Digimon that are suspended on the board.
Right.
The other main thing is, if you gain more than 2 from this effect, it unsuspends against piercing for the turn.
Which is really...
So it's really great, and more, you know, kind of talks about how these Digizorpers were probably too strong and helped really push, you know, this card for sure helped Blosso reach that limit.
Yeah.
Because of just how great that effect is.
I do wonder how the 2 limiting on top of each other would affect it.
What do you mean?
Isn't Bloomlord also limited to 1 in the Ultimate Cup?
No, it is just the,
Is it
just Hydra.
Oh, okay.
Just Hydra.
My bad then.
Yeah. Bloom still exists, but, and then it also has your turn when you, for every 2 suspended, he gets plus 2k and a security. So a lot of times you can just, like I said, it's not hard to have 4 in this deck. Well, now all of a sudden if you had 4, you've played this, evolve for this for free, unsuspended, you got piercing if you want to hit one of your opponent's Digimon that you might have suspended from an effect.
From Pokemon.
And now, guess what? You're hitting them for 3 checks at 16k, where most likely you're losing to nothing in this current game. Unless they're playing a random Reaper or something. But, you know, it doesn't happen too much. Card's great. Card's bonkers. I will say, the reason this deck can seem so strong, and sometimes it's, if you've ever played Bloomlord, you feel like you rule the world, and sometimes you feel like you're doing nothing. Crimson Blaze is such a big...
Yes.
And Death X's
is ruined.
Wide boards, because you have to invest so much in this. As we talked about it being a green deck, I don't draw much. I'm trying to play my cards. I'm doing a lot of free playing, so I'm playing these things that have these effects. Bloom is very strong when it goes off, but when it is answered, it instantly can just fall apart.
Yeah.
I do think the new level 7 in this deck really keeps it from happening.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's another option besides having to go hard, and but it's, you know, I feel like Bloom is definitely not one of those decks is unbeatable.
Right.
But when it goes off, you feel like you're playing a different game.
And it has answers.
Last level 6, I'm running 3 Hydramon. Hydramon is, or also called Hydrassi. I just need to buy me some of them bad boys because they're beautiful.
Not my favorite card art, but you know.
So when Digivolving, I can suspend a opponent's Digimon. All turn when an opponent's Digimon becomes suspended, I'm going to gain a memory for every other. That is the key to this card that a lot of people forget. It's every other. He does not count. It's Vegetation Plant or Fairy you have. He also has the end of turn effect if you have 2 or more vegetation, so him and another Digimon, you get to tuck when your opponent's suspended Digimon on the bottom of their deck.
Which is crazy.
Very strong. It's very good for this meta. I think this is limited to 1 in the Ultimate Cup, which kind of makes sense because it's one of the few cards that just you can play and then answer, and then now you got the big guy who's constantly going to like kind of floodgate your opponent by the gain effect.
Can't do much about it unless you have an option to take care of it.
Right. So he's 13k. Sometimes you can even play him for free.
Yeah.
Because if you suspend and it works out that way. So
HPD
he's very good. Oh, HPD makes him great. If you are going to play this in Ultimate Cup, I have a great couple options. One is Nidhogg. I think that's what we talked about earlier. Nidhogg's playable. The card I actually think you should be playing that I sat out to talk about if you're going to play Ultimate Cup is the Lotusmon here. So this thing evolves for 4. It is a fairy. So it is pickable up with our Palmon. You made a weird face about pickable upable.
Yep. Pickable upable.
It's not a real word. It does have when Digivolve suspend one of your opponent's Digimon. It doesn't unsuspend on your opponent's unsuspend phase. So pretty good if you're playing those BLs1 matchups and they've got to their stack and they can't, and that's their stack, or
any deck,
War
right?
Great. It's really good. It's very good.
I mean, it hurts Old Force a lot too. So just Ultimate Cup decks.
It's very good. The main part about it is it has opponent's turn. All your other Digimon with Vegetation, Plant, and Fairy, everything in the deck besides 2 cards right now.
Yeah.
Gain on deletion, you gain 2 memory. And then return 1 Digimon card with 3,000 or less from your trash to your hand. So it's a good option for when you're going to, if you're worried about those Crimson Blades, what we're talking about. I think in normal builds, unfortunately, the Hydramon is just the better card. Option, and this deck is kind of a little, not tight on space, but also you want Digimon that are really helping your game. And if I'm not getting to my Bloomlord and probably hitting you for all your security, don't want some protection. Protection's good, but I would rather put your big stack on the bottom. Right, and we're in a big stack of meta, so that's where we're at.
Talking about Toolbox, would you take one of your Hydramons out for that?
In normal builds, no. Ultimate Cup, yeah. Okay. I think this is a great option to facilitate that role, or one of this and a Nidhogg if you're going to play Ultimate Cup. Level 7, as I was talking about earlier, the best card that has come out in a long time for green.
I can't wait for this card to get limited.
It won't. It's never going to get limited because it's going to disappear in a few sets. Shine Green, Ruin Mode, and all those just kind of make him look a little not as awesome. But it's Quartzmon. He digivolves on a save. We ain't saving, but he still digivolves for 6. When digivolve, spin all your opponents, Digimon and Tamers. It's all other opponents, but everybody's stuff is getting suspended. Nothing unsuspends besides him. All turns. Let's say nothing unsuspends, and he has the attacking of suspend one of your opponent's Digimon, and then trash the top card of the security stack for every 5 suspended Digimon and Tamers. On top of the fact I missed it when you do that Digivolving, for every 2 you gain 1 memory. So you can sometimes go into this for free. Sometimes you can HPD after a boss, and then after Bloom get a bunch of memory and go into this for 6 and still put them at 1, or card's good, keeps your opponent locked down, and as we see in that video, I just kept you locked down for a while, and then I just kept doing
I don't physically have anything in that Gallantmon deck that I think can do it. I would have to have a sack in the bag ready to go.
And I think that's also like Bloom is very strong, is in if you can play into your opponent's game and stymie them.
Yeah.
If you can make them think they're safe to go into a stack, or you can make them safe that they can play a card. You can kind of, if you can get them to make a move, it's kind of like Bloomlord can be a chess game.
Yeah.
You're trying to get them in the position you want, so then you can just aggro them out.
Right.
Which is kind of like happened in our last game. You went to that stack, you would try to keep me low on
Digimon.
On memory.
Yeah.
By going into your level 6 for 1. And then I was just still able to.
You just laughed in my face.
I looked at you and said you're stupid.
Yeah.
So that's one thing with green, I think, where they've adapted from back in the day, where it's just like, I gotta get my Hercules Carpetariumon down and go into my Chaosdramon and all this, not Chaosdramon, but Chaosmon.
Yeah. I do think Quartzmon is a great level 7 for green and black. I mean white, when Diaboromon finally gets its stuff.
Yeah, when it gets more support.
It's bad. It's gonna be a hard time.
Unless we got some like Diaboromon X antibodies or something wild. I'm just gonna have
Don't say that.
I can't wait. Only 1 tamer, Mimi, classic, memory tamer, and then if I have a level 5, I can suspend her to either hatch a egg if I have no egg, or promote a level 3 up from
to
the
win the game.
to raise it. Yep. Important note: if you've never played Mimi or know the effects, if you're new to Digimon, or you've just never played a green deck, if you bring that card from your raising area up, since it is not considered to have that ability to not attack the turn it's played, because it wasn't played, it was in a raising area, so you can then swing. So you can check for a bunch of security, tap my Mimi, promote up my level 3, hit you for a game.
Yep.
So Mimi's just good. We don't really care. Memory is not the thing we care too much about in this deck. So like the 1 memory tamer, where back in the past, really green's like, I need that 3 memory.
You have to have that 3 memory.
Well,
now everything cost 4 back then.
Yeah.
Still does, but now we have extension.
As a card that should also be unbanned, Hidden Potential Discovery.
Should not be unbanned.
It shouldn't. Green and yellow still fighting for the most limited cards in the format.
Blue's coming up close.
He's getting there. Tommy's worth at least 4 of these. So if you don't know what HPD does, it's awesome. It's for 0. If you're going to evolve into Digimon, you can basically Digizorb it for 5. So
you gotta be careful. I mean, it Digivolves into a green Digimon for reduced cost, I think.
If it's when a green Digimon would evolve.
Was it a green Digimon? Okay.
Yeah, because you also back in the day could use this to go into Chaosmon for free, which is a fun time. So
for you, maybe.
It's a good card. If it wasn't limited, we'd run a bunch more.
Yeah. Every green deck would.
More, once again, Searchers, Extenders, Green Men Boost, top 4 on play. Look for, grab me another
good
Green
card.
Digimon.
Always going to be a good card.
Green needs cards, Green needs to
it's
find
a
it.
staple.
Yep.
All these memory boosts are staples at this point.
Yeah, I feel like if you, I almost sometimes wish I had 4 of this, and then I'm like the space in the deck, and I would rather have some of these other options. But
and it's got my boy Stingmon in it.
It's got the boy Stingmon. It's got my boy Wormmon. Ow! Whatever he says, he's very good Stingmon.
He's not like a very old man.
He's like, yeah, he's just like always crying. Like me when I get up in the morning, my knees crack.
Turning 30 really hard.
Yeah, 30 sucked. Last 2 cards of the deck are just 2 options I use as basically answers.
I feel like these are also staples in green decks.
Yeah, I feel like I am just playing my options are green staples, but Grand Del Sol, which is, if you have a tamer, you can use it by 2, make it 6. Once again, I don't really care if I need to use this card. I need to use it. Really, it's great in security, but if this is like, as we've mentioned in other videos, this is my oh shit button.
Yeah.
This is like, what do I do about this stack? I have nothing else to do. Cool, just get rid of it.
Just get rid of it.
So we're going to pay this rate, suspend a Digimon, and then put that on the bottom of our owner's deck.
Which is phenomenal. I think putting the bottom is like probably the best thing in Digimon right now as far as removal goes, because it avoids the Beelzemon.
Right, 100%.
Yeah.
Last card, one of Sadami Santi. It's for 1. We get to suspend one of our Digimon. Now the key to this is you have to suspend one of your Digimon to get this effect.
Yep.
So you have to have a Digimon to suspend. You don't get to cheat the system like with the old purple card that has eluded my brain.
Calling from Darkness.
So
also limited.
Also limited once again. We don't get to cheat the system with this, but we get to suspend one of our Digimon, and then you suspend one of your opponent's Digimon or Tamers, and they don't suspend it in their next turn. So really what this card is here for is, to put something down you may need to kill. Tamers, you may want to suspend a tamer that they have some sources under. You don't want, if they have that one tamer that's got their 1 Clockmon and you don't want to get jammed out by the Aethersmon, suspend that sucker. So maybe that's 1 less. Actually, that doesn't even work in Hunters.
Doesn't.
Cross is where this is really the best at. So I'm probably thinking of, but it still just wants to.
It doesn't work against a Rashtrigramon, but that's about it.
Yeah, I mean it's because
the rest of the deck is still work on.
Yeah, it's fine. It's 1 less memory.
It's 2 less checks you have to worry about. I mean,
well, no, because the Hunter cards let them use them from any tamers, so it's not just that tamer.
Right.
That's why I was kind of second guessing myself when I just said that. So, but
that's how we could cross.
It's very good against cross and blue flare.
I mean, just in general,
suspending and
mirror match the Mimi, stopping a Mimi that could make or break it. I mean, Old Force decks being able to tap down on Arena is phenomenal against that type of deck. What other Ultimate Cup decks are there that? I don't know what Analog Man, just stopping it.
Stopping an Analog Man is probably one of the biggest things that's its usefulness in this deck. Because Machine Dramon having that prevention makes your piercing from your Bloom not matter. It's hard to tug because of its effects. Well, cool, if I can at least lock down your Analog Man so you can't redirect my attack, maybe I can just go win the game right quick.
Yeah.
But also, Quartzmon is very good against the Analog Man matchup.
That's also true.
Suspend them suckers. I don't care if you ain't got nothing to redirect. I'm just going to sit there and keep suspending your Machine Dramons, keeping nothing on suspense.
That's like the big boogeymans of Ultimate Cup, I think, right?
Yeah, I think...
I'm trying to think of anything else?
The biggest thing with this deck, I think, is remember is your goal is to go wide and not die and kill them before that happens.
I think this isn't. It may look like an aggro deck, but I think the way yours is very much like we said already, toolboxy. I think there is, with the right pilot in this version, I think it's a very, very, very formidable deck. It's still got its problems. It still bricks. It still loses to Death X and Crimson Blaze. But if you're
thankfully Death X can't be played in Ultimate Cup.
Cannot unless it's in a black or purple deck.
No, it's actually banned. So
it is banned. I forgot about
in Ultimate Cup, you can't be played. But in the normal BT-12 meta, you do lose to like those Death X's. But they have they're more rare for the meta than they used to be because we have a lot of Beelzemon, Wargreymon, All Force, a lot of single stack decks. So
that's something I would talk about. You're talking about Restramons being a problem. You're not gonna run into.
No. Yeah, in Ultimate Cup you're fine. Normal BT-12 meta that we still have, and upcoming EX4 meta, you're still gonna see it. Deck's good. I love it.
Good.
I think we've seen how strong the deck can be in the video. And I would keep playing it.
Yeah. And we've got a lot of other videos coming up of other decks that we're playing against each other. And if there's any other videos or any other decks you'd like to see us play, put it in the comments and let us know.
Yeah. That means I gotta buy cards though.
Not necessarily. Just because they're like, build this deck, we could just be like, oh, okay, we'll build.
Tell us what decks you want to build. Yeah, now we're good.